So I'm just going to try and connect my internet on the other side. Not that it ever likes to work with me. We've got the eclipse we had in Taurus, and it can affect technology, power, our nervous system, weather. What else can it affect? Heart chakra, because it's in Venus. Your money, your values. And we are moving towards, next month, Venus retrograde in Capricorn. So I'm going to wait for people to pop in. Good morning, everyone. Good evening to wherever you are in the world. Had a very interesting, I can't even say 48 hours. I think it's been more than 48 hours, really. I think it started happening around Thursday, which technically, let me think back. 22nd, 21st, 20th. 19th. Yeah, well, it was about that. Yeah, I just saw it. So it was pretty much, and the reason why all of this energy has been spiking, I'll wait for everyone to connect their butts into the room, is because, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to wait for everyone to come in, and we're going to then talk about why all this is up in the hood, okay? Because it's pretty intense, but I also need to give you some tools and for us to be mindful. Now, I did have a conversation with beautiful Marlo about a month ago. It was back in October. And that is the woke therapist for those of you that don't know. So if you haven't seen her channel, go through and have a look at hers. And we were talking about our spiritual practice as spiritual practitioners and what our role is. And we had this very interesting experience. And it was where we were having this revelation of how we were doing things and how we were needing to change. And remember, I did say I'm doing the magazine. So the reason a lot of us in the spiritual community are going through these transformation and changes are because of what's going to come up for you guys, which is what we have been warning you about. So at the moment, what has been happening on YILDIZ readings for a very long time has been tarot readings, oracle readings, psychic readings. But where I tried to change the channel, about two years ago, 2020, right? I started trying to do updates relating to the astrology. Now, not from an astrologer point of view, but from a 101 ascension of my experience of what I had in the journey. You've got to understand I've gone through the journey. So what I felt in my intuition was best was to give you the tools that were going to help you on your path. So everything I preach, promote, provide is based around those areas. Now, at the moment, what I am doing is creating information content as a resource for you. So it will be, how do I deal with my triggers? How do I deal with the mirror? How do I deal with projection, reflection? And so I'm making all these templates up. They're going to be in two formats. It's going to be a brief information video. So it's really tailored. It's going to be an information video that's short and sweet and to the point. And then separately, it will have, if you want to dive deep and it's a real problem you got coming up, you can then go purchase that content on my website, which will then be, okay, I'm ready to dive deep in this. It's becoming a problem. So the good thing about it is it's going to be depending upon where you are in your journey. And so it's very tailored then as to where you're at and what you're really needing. So the reason I cover astrology is so that you can have the weather of your ascension. And so how I use astrology is, okay, your eating habits, you're going to probably want to eat more. But because we're moving into eclipses, which we just had the first one, you may have got hungry going into it and then fell off after. That's because the moon was in Taurus. I've gone into vegan again, and that's more so for me to clear and flush my system. And your body is always going to tell you what it needs, but in the ebbs and flows of it, subjects can come up. So it is purgatory of the heart. And now to get to the heart, what do we have to go through? The ego. Because an eclipse relates to our head and our heart. Now, the ego, which is the trigger video I'm creating, which I'm getting the template ready, what we need to understand is when we're having an experience, it always goes to the past. It's always linked to the past. Something's happening now, But what it's doing is it's scratching an old wound that's there. And it doesn't mean to say the wound's not healed, but it can come up. And one thing that did happen for me in my journey through reconciliation was a common wound kept coming up. Now, there's different ways you can look at it. Is this a wound that keeps happening and keeps reminding me, and am I avoiding it? That's different. Or is this irritating the wound and it's something I don't resonate with? That's different too. So there does come a time where it can be environmental. So let's look. I've dealt with this wound. It keeps coming up. I need to remove myself from the situation. So there's that. Now, the other thing is, because of the energy that's coming up, I had 20 to 50 inbox messages. Now, the whole thing with the comment system on YouTube is that you can comment here, which would help the algorithm. You get to support each other and talk to each other, but I'm not available 24/7. So I literally did have Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, Skype, maybe 1 or 2 messages on my website, but it was everywhere. And the thing is, I'm one person. So like I said, at the moment, I'm creating the content, but for those of us that have been here for a long time, we actually do know what we need to do. We do. So it's wounds coming up. We need to sit with it. What is that energy showing me? And a lot of us naturally on this twin flame path are going to get cross at what is going down with our twins. It's normal. It's not, but what it shows you has a beautiful reality. What it shows us is, what am I not, what would the word be? What is so confusing to me that is being shown to me right now that I just can't reach acceptance? We can really heal. But if we can't sit with it and hear what we feel, we're not allowing ourselves. And there's ways we can tell that, honestly, where I was in my dark night of the soul, I had no expectation for my twin to come back. It was not about my twin flame. It became about my sanity, my health, and that was the only reason I stayed on YouTube. It was for the divine feminines. And for those of you that are going through your ascension, because the problem is when you're battling a wound, you're actually psychologically in a punching ring with yourself. And it can be something's coming up and I don't really know what it is. You can have a process of elimination. So this is the way you can look at it. Is it about twin? Number one, because sometimes it's really not. Sometimes it's about something popping off in your own personal life that hasn't been addressed. It can be that you are worried about money going on. It can be about rejection, and that's your inner child. That's to do with you not listening to yourself. And I always say, if something's coming up, say it, but also write it down or acknowledge it at least, because if we're wanting twin to listen to us, we also have to listen to ourselves. It's like, and on it, even the ugly that comes up, it's like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. I'm really mad about this right now. And so in that moment, you're able to uncover some things, and then you can go, wow, that's really interesting. And not one thing is wrong. It's like, even if it looks ugly and even if what you're saying looks really shady, it's bringing about truth, inner truth. So some of you, it can be to do with wanting an apology. And this system of apology has been coming up big time for me over the weekend. We had these subjects, and again, because looking at psychology is a really great help for ascension. That's why with the woke therapist and I, we get that. We get that we can unwire and decog those things. We understand the 5D and the 3D because we're both. But by having that as a math equation, you can resolve some things so much quicker, and you look at things so very differently. You step back like you're out of your body, you're observing yourself like a therapist, and you're listening, hearing, attempting to change patterns so you can get a different outcome. Now, the funny thing is, when we look at that, we tend to feel that if we change, they're not going to change. And so what you're actually saying is, but if I change, I feel they won't. And that's not true. Because if you change, you won't actually get the same outcome. Why? Because you won't enable. because you won't go in where angels fear to tread, because you won't move into victim consciousness when you're woke. Now, we're always waking. We're not completely ever woke, but we know when a Venus retrograde blast from the past come back. So why are they coming back? It can be because they have unfinished business with you. Is it a bad time to connect with people from the past during a Venus retrograde? No. It's better to connect with people from the past than new energies. Why is that? Because when you have, think of this, you've got with a new person, you're thinking you're running for shining horizons. What happens in a Venus retrograde? Blasts from the past come back. Now, there is a potential then the person that you start a connection with may have a past, and that's the truth with any person. We all have a past. So if you can operate inside that new connection with less control and you're able to deal with your emotions and realize we all have a past, if you can look at it and go, look, I loved people in my life. Does that mean somehow I'm less to my twin? No. We all love people at different levels, but the jealousy energy can come up. So during a Venus retrograde, if, for instance, if you were in a connection, we're doing shadow work, we're doing, introspection and thought. So it's going to be, do you love me? And it's very traditional, so we can have a lot of prejudice. So you'll find during a Venus retrograde it's really traditional. I'm going, oh God, what is this? So it can be chivalry, but you'll be looking at what you like in a connection. And there's nothing scary about a retrograde in such. It has been happening for many years. We've all been functioning effectively on the planet. It's a weather forecast. So it's like, hey, right, during this time, it's probably not the best to launch a product. It's great for fine-tuning them. So it's like, right, okay, I'm going to be looking at my projects, my money, my love life, and I'm going to be looking at it from different angles. How is that good with twins? Because you're connected to the past with them, and it helps you go over old ground. It helps you find solutions to problems, unlock situations that resurrect out of you. And again, Capricorn's the devil card in tarot. So it's sometimes we have to look at the ugly and understand there's no right and wrong. Now, are there perpetrators and victims? 100%. But if it happened a long time ago and you're still embodying the same energy, you're not ready, okay? Because you're going to hold that person at bay. There was a point in my journey, I got so bloody mad. And, True Heart brought this up to me this morning. This expectation we have in our life where a lot of the textbook crap that YouTube writes, and it's not YouTube, it's the people that have gone through this process. It's different if that person has moved through their twin flame path and they're in union. They've seen it all, okay? Now, does it mean I'll be there forever? Probably not, and I don't know, but this is where I am, and I've done that part of the journey. So what I can say from my perspective is when you do go back into union, you have all those triggers still. So you have worked on them, but it's also don't stay in hermit mode forever. Now, of course, because of what's going on the collective, it's kind of forced us so, right? It's something that's happened to us, for us, but to us. Now, a lot of the collective and what will happen in the news, because if you think back to 2017-18, around that time we had Chiron in Pisces. And through my ascension, I told him I was going live. People need to be reading. So through that retrograde and through Chiron and Pisces, I did have the separation. I did have the dark night of the soul. And it was like I had this epiphany. Okay, I'm the common denominator here. I've had separations. This one person has been this situational shit for 20 odd years. How do I look at this? And the one thing was, I felt that spiritually and emotionally, I was becoming disabled due to my wounds. And so I had to face them so that they would not affect my friendships, my connections, my affair, my relationship to my intuition, because you will feel like you are in a punching ring with the polarity. So you'll move through that. And dark night of the soul doesn't happen in one hit. You know, it comes in waves. Your body can have a soul walk in. You can go through shock through it. If you need support, you should always reach out to a professional. You know, gauge where you're at. You're in the Navman position. So through that process, it was hard. Thus, what we're moving into, Jupiter's going to expand those energies. So at a collective, what you're going to see is people writing, people angry, people wanting their liberation and freedom. And freedom comes from within. To our first placement, it's a mindset. The house of imprisonment, the house of spirituality, it's all to do with inner peace. It's all to do with self-mastery. Of is everything actually, you know, how can we view a side of the coin? Technically, there's two, but is there? It's finding a way to, in the storm, not be of it, but be blowing through it. So you will find those ways. One thing I can say is it bad during a Venus retrograde to connect to twin? No. There's no wrong time. Your guides, you are both 3D and 5D. When it comes in, it comes in. The other content I'm creating is how to relate and change behaviors inside of connections. The other thing is we can have, there was a time in my union where initially, from a theoretical, we always get into this and we hear it a lot in Twin Flame Path, I was ahead and he was behind. And I hear this so bloody much. Two different things come up. What's happening out here isn't what's happening on the inside. Okay? And that was for a very, very small point in time. And it was usually because I had an attachment. What I did notice was, and what was the other channel I talked about, Giggle, the other day, and the lovely lady, she came, the Enchanted, it's early in the morning. It's like 5:46 in the morning. I've been up since 4. What's her channel's name? Enchanted Tarot. I found a coffee and it's not my coffee. So she did come into union a bit. Enchanted World of Twin Flames. Yes, so big shout out to her. And, you know, I did reach out to her the other day, and that was more from, I'm a twin, you're a twin. I went into union and I knew what was coming. Is all of our journey the same? No, but I can't lie to you. Going in, you will have triggers. We're human. We also have become accustomed to being alone. So sometimes in unions, sometimes some of you are already in union, okay? You're just working through it and integrating. It can be that you're in contact at the moment and it's in and out. You're always in union, but what the twin shows you is where you have a separation inside yourself. It's balancing that yin and yang. It's balancing those things out. So, you know, with her connection, you know, he came in, and most recently they did have, and I always say this, the Katy Perry song when it came out, I laughed my ass off. It's never truly really over. No, it's not. And you so get, the reason why a lot of us twins that have been on the journey a long time, we just reach that personal acceptance, is because no matter what we do, if we're good, bad, angry, mad, it keeps coming back. Because people come into your life for a reason, and you can't truly lose your twin. But you lose a sense of identity inside it, and you find yourself all simultaneously. So it comes and goes. But the other thing is, when you've done the work, the healthy boundary energy is about actually saying what your needs are. I mean, how many of us can actually say that we have cried in front of our twin? That when something has irritated us, automatically we've gone into a discussion, regardless of whether they respond or not. You know, statement pieces, benchmark, and it's not expectations. It's these are my carnal needs. These are my needs. And then if they're not being met, actually getting to a point saying, well, I still actually love you, but I can't do that. And just not. Because in a twin flame path, you will find your masculine will never force you to leave a connection. Some of you may have left a connection prior and then been crossed that they didn't. And that's the thing, it's the shadow, right? And then you can get scared that it was really hard for you because you left it. And why the heck did you leave it? Remember, you left it because it was your spiritual path. That was part of a chapter you needed to end. So they won't tend to interfere with your tribe. They won't tend to tell you what you can and can't do. I even remember back to really putting pressure on my twin and saying, look, if you don't want me, I'm gonna move on. And it's like, they'll tell you, go do it then. Because we're not victims. They're saying to you, if I'm an option, don't make me be one. And so they're never going to tell you, yeah, but I really love you. You should stay here, because they don't own you and their soul won't let them do that. Very interesting. So coming back into it, what I can say is, you will have moments where you'll feel a little bit claustrophobic, but it's just unusual, because what we've done is put ourselves in the isolation, right? And then suddenly there's another energy. It's like the three little bears that's up in your energy, and you have these, it's a bit of OCD. It's like, no, this is where it goes and that's where it goes, and it's showing us an element of control. So it's about still having healthy boundaries, but saying, well, these are my likes, these are my dislikes. And still understanding that they have those rights too. It's also, if it is only for an apology setting, there's no point in a reconciliation. So that's why I always say to you, really check in with yourself regularly and see where you're at. Is it that where you're at psychologically, you feel that you need to protect yourself? And that's not wrong. I'm not judging. I'm saying check in with where you are. If you're feeling you need to protect yourself, it's more than likely, have you ever noticed when you release and you're really calm, suddenly you attract all these energies like honey to the bee? It's because your heart chakra is open. You're not protecting yourself. You're like, bygones be bygones. What's coming is coming. And simultaneously, you'll get a bunch of people as well as your twin. It's because you're open. You're not protecting yourself anymore. So you can't lie to universe. You will energetically send those radars out, and the laws of attraction will bring it in. So, some of you can say, I'm ready for someone else, but no one comes. It's because there's something going on there. Karmics don't have power over masculines. Karmics are giving masculine. This is what we need to understand. Victim, perpetrator. There is a purpose for each energy in the twin flame path, but the karmic energy is permission-based. It's the perspective the divine masculine has, and sometimes it's the perspective that the twin has. That's why the way I would deal with the energy inside my twin flame path was I did a cord cutting, and then psychologically I had to rewire my brain, thanks Star, and say, no, they actually don't have control over that person. That person's strong, that person's stubborn, they can get themselves out of it. And it's serving a purpose for whatever reason it is, they can actually leave that situation. We did. Oh, did ya? Yeah, been there, done that. Bought the t-shirt, didn't like it. I sent it on returns. It was like, yeah, no, it don't fit. And sometimes it does. Look, sometimes you can join the energies and find inner peace. I mean, I do recall having a partnership, and it was with my daughter's father. And oh my God, did he talk about catalyst? It was like, here, bloody karmics everywhere. And I would sit with it, and I was like friends with the mothers and things. And I was like, so I had no jealousy. But did they have jealousy? Oh yeah. Did they have control? Yeah, but we all as humans do. Was it really unique to experience? It was, but it was again, due to childhood, the way I was conditioned, So it was hard, but there were some people I did choose to remove from my life. Now, what my twin did with his, that was up to him. It was like sometimes we have to go from our nav man. We have to go, okay, what is going to work for me? I can't lie. What is Neptune in this situation? You know what Neptune is? It's the dire truth. It is what it is. What is the situation right now? Where does it stand? And when we accept it, funny enough, it changes in 24 hours. But sometimes it's that we have to accept how we're seeing something as. And it can be, do I feel I have to do that? Not necessarily. And unfortunately, the first waves were there to break down the paradigm of connections. So what do? We get exes, we get We get these really interesting, unique dynamics. It can be you with the twin, and the twin's really older and you're really younger. It can be of an opposite sex. It can be of different religions. I mean, that's the first wavers. Prejudice, judgment, all coming from the collective. And what did we have? We had Juno retrograde in Sagittarius this year. So what a lot of you aren't understanding is what the first wavers were, and the astrology, it's directly linking to the breaking down of that. It's all there in the stars. So what came up during Juno retrograde for feminines? And then where has the masculine been? Juno was retrograde in Sagittarius, which is religion, spirituality. It was gurus. It's what is meant to be, right? Tradition. Signed marriage paperwork. That makes it real, right? Old ways went to the south node. That's where the masculines were, in the south node, and they went through judgment, but we judged them. But we also had to judge ourselves through that. How do we see things differently? So as Juno went retrograde, the south node was in Sagittarius. And where is the eclipse next month? Sagittarius. They're coming out of the prison chamber. But it's also, they're not held captive. They're going through a soul integration and transformation and change. And so are we. Where was the last eclipse? Taurus, divine feminine. You're going through a transformation and change. Now, if you go to another astrology channel, you ain't going to get this. They don't explain it like this. It's the linking to the mythology. It's the linking to the chakra systems. Cold feet, man. But that was the past and this is now. And yes, 100% we have met people, but then now we're different. So now we can relate to the circumstances different. We can be open to it, and you'll be able to scan them. I think it's funny that, Giggle and I were talking this morning. We were talking about a lunar ash. You can scan people. You have intuition. So your fears, if they're coming up and they're really brewing in this next few weeks, stop. Go, wow, what is this showing me right now? What is this? You're different, but you're not different if you're doing things the same way, right? If you're holding if you're holding anger that every person's going to be the same, it's a lie. It's not true. It's you trying to protect yourself, and that's okay. No shade. Not every human being on the planet is shady. They're not. Also, can you change that situation? Yes, you can. Okay, if we were dealing with a narcissist, no. How many of you have a twin dealing with substance abuse? That was another interesting, How many of you have had a family member not accept you because you had to behave a certain way at all times? That's where the feminine's prejudice comes from. Because initially, our expectation, a role we had in our life was so projected towards us that we were like, I've got to be, I can't be Lilith. Oh, I've got to be Venus. I've got to be perfect. I've got to have my shit together. Bullshit. There's nothing wrong. Nobody. That is not unconditional love. This is what the whole first wave was supposed to be teaching the collective, is that you can make mistakes, and I'm not going to put the X on you and castrate you for life. And if we're doing that to masculines, it's just not going to work, because we're doing it to ourselves. Because what we're actually saying when we're projecting out is that we feel in the world as feminines, we have to be perfect at all times. We can never fail. We can never do anything wrong. And we can, and we do, and we're human. Did I stay in a relationship at a time, and then when I woke and I knew psychologically what would be best is to put that connection down? Yeah, I did. I have to own that. Did I hurt people that I just wish I'd had the balls to bloody say it? Yes, I did. Did I sometimes never tell my twin what I should have told him? Yes, I did. Did I sometimes enable my twin? 110%. Financially, psychologically. Did I have empathy for the karmics accidentally not even knowing? Yeah. Do I? Yes, because their perspective of their psychology, they know not what they do. Could that change later? Could. Not my problem. To the left. Can you cut people out of your life? Yes, as long as you're not running. Can you stick up for yourself? Yes, you can. You can say no. If you keep making the cake the same way. Look, again, if you are being intimate with your twin and they're telling you they're going to leave their partner and they haven't yet, how long has it been? How long has it been? Has it been a year? Has it been 2 years? Has it been 4 years? You have to have the courage to step forward and go, I'm going to test this, because your greatest fear is that they won't choose you. But it's because you haven't chose you. Whenever we're projecting out, say it back to yourself. I feel that they are doing X, Y, and Z. What are the feelings that we're all coming up at the moment? It's okay to air the dirty laundry without jealousy. Not jealousy, without feeling judged. It's not judgment. I've done everything. I mean, those of you that have known me for many years, I've shared some details. And I mean, I've done everything. Good, bad, ugly. Seen it all. I got Scorpio on my chart. It was a given. Like I said to Giggle, I did a past life astrology on myself, and it was funny because a lot of things that happened in my life, what I had in a previous life was I was an addict. And so a lot of the energy vampires I had in my life was due to such. But I actually didn't have to come back, which is funny because it's very 12th house Pisces. But our souls incarnate for reasons. Everything that's happening is in its divine order. It sounds cheesy, but everything that did happen to me that was really, really hard. This astrologer the other day said, Oprah Winfrey, and who was the other person she was talking about? People that have the most difficult lives are like a diamond, and I've been mentioning that in the videos quite a bit. It's the hard things in life that make you, and it's shitty, but it's true. I mean, if you didn't have adversity, you wouldn't fight for that dream. You wouldn't appreciate it, the art of appreciation. It doesn't mean to say everything has to be hard. No, it doesn't. Sometimes we do accidentally make it hard. But it's what makes you. I mean, certain things, I wouldn't have been on YouTube, I wouldn't have been studying astrology and looking at different things, creating courses for the collective so that we can work through those things. And the thing is, when we're looking for wounds and going, are we there yet? Say to yourself now, I'm perfect right now. It can happen right now. I have the tools. I'm ready. You will continue to heal for the rest of your life. I do recall looking under my armpits and going, is there anything left? It's usually quite a positive sign, because if you're having a real hard purge, you're shifting a lot of junk, space junk. And when you are, you'll feel so light after. And it's funny because my connection, I went through a purgatory experience prior to Christmas. I had to face my shadow of, am I going to see him on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's? And I was like, let it go. How about you have a relationship with yourself for a change and sit here and not need anyone? And I sat there through it. And I was like, I wished Christmas to him, and I stayed in my presence, and I was like, everything's perfect. I have everything I need. And come January, contact. Because I moved into acceptance, and the acceptance isn't it's all okay. It's you go through that egoic purge, and it's nasty. It looks ugly. You look like a kid in a schoolyard having a temper tantrum. You're in a boxing ring and you're like, no. And even if somebody wanted to help you or you booked a reading, there's different ways my coaching sessions come. Sometimes they're a reading. Sometimes you come and you're in the thick of it. It can end up being a coaching session. I actually don't need cards. I've never needed cards. I channel messages. But again, it depends on how you're coming through, and what needs to be addressed. But it's all part of the journey, so you're never going to get off track. You're always on track. It's never always over. That's so 3D. We're both 5D and 3D. So a person that is energetically connected to you, you can never really lose them. Sometimes you wish you could, you know, because it sucks. And again, it's shadow work. I have the same thing. Aging. Then you can move forward. We do have the spiritual connection, but just because we have the tag of twin flame, it doesn't mean you can't attract energies into your life. You know, I did meet other twin flames. And so I find it interesting on the path. A lot of twins on different channels talk about the catalyst twin. Your twin is your twin, and your twin, you'll know it's hard and it doesn't look pretty. So sometimes a lot of people that talk about their catalyst twin was actually their twin. And what they were attracting was the soulmate energy because it was easier. And there's no shade in that. But let's not get it twisted. A twin flame's hard. A twin flame makes us change, even if we don't want to. A twin flame can hurt you, can betray you. They're human. They're going to show you every facet of life. Look at your North Node. It's going to give you part of your destiny. Look at your Mars. It's going to be in your own chart, an expectation you place on your partners. You know? At the moment, the portal, between now and moving into January, there will be unions. So what's happening to the feminines and the masculines at the moment is you're being put in the naughty corner. You're being put there to lower your guard, and it's going to be tough. And if you can't trust and you can't do the work, your reconciliation will be more difficult. I'm not lying to you. Okay, so for me, through Juno retrograde direct, came to the point where the nodes were shifting over. I went through a 3-month portal of transformation, which is already activated right now for you guys. Moving over, you'll go through the purging, face it, don't run from it. Feel you can create healthy boundaries, sit with it. Be gentle to yourself, love yourself through it. It's bloody nasty. Have faith. Have faith in yourself that your soul picked this path. I used to laugh at myself so often. I'd be like, wait, you picked this path. You would have picked nothing apparently you couldn't handle. So get on that bloody roller coaster, girl. Go. Live like there's no tomorrow. If you want to dance under the moonlight, go do that. If you want to call that friend and go, you know what, why are we fighting for? What's this shit? Well, why are we fighting for? Don't enable. Let's go. Nothing has to be perfect. Is your twin coming back perfect? No, but nor are you. You know, that can be money, it could be emotionally, but does it mean they're going to hurt you? Not necessarily, I don't think so. Generally, when your energies are ready to come back for that final union, you can have a brief contact and out, but you also will find that you'll energetically know it's right. And you'll look at it, but you'll find that through it, you're going to realize that you've got used to being alone. And you're like, maybe that's better. There's no wrong or right. You can have both. You can have your solitude and you can have your connection. You can have it all, yeah. And so it's about finding that balance in it. Of Dal, have you got a Christmas party to go to? Go for gold. Not having to parent them. You gave them a gold ticket, right? And that can be a masculine or a feminine. It can go either way. Now, what if? Sod the what ifs. If it happens, deal with it then. You got 99 problems. Do you really want another one? A man isn't on a plan, nor is a woman. So whatever outside of that is not working, fix that, and then it's not going to be a problem. And then if it messed up, you walk away. You go, look, I gave you the gold ticket, and I told you that this was mine. And it's not a dictatorship. It's more, okay, I've grown to know myself through this process. I've looked at it from every way. Thanks, it's driven me crazy. What are my needs inside the connection? Now, it's a renegotiation when you go back to it. So you might have likes and dislikes, and it's okay to talk about it. You could make, and one thing that I did in my path was you can have a code word. So it can be, look, number one, What happened in the past was messed up. Number 2 is, now that it's in me, I've got to deal with this for the rest of my life. So I've got to find a way to desensitize the wound. So it doesn't affect our new connection, because it's a new connection. You have to go into it that way. New beginning. Does it mean things will come up? Yes, but I can honestly tell you, if you can look at it and deal with it differently, it won't control you anymore, and it won't affect you the way it currently is right now. I can talk about these things now with my twin, and they don't affect me. Not at all. And you'll be so calm. At times, you may even laugh about it. Perfectly honest. We actually look at our connections and realize that we weren't completely, and that wasn't through them or us, it was just where we were. That, were we the most authentic version of ourselves? No, now we are. Now we're like, if we don't want to do something, we don't do it. If we feel some sort of way, we articulate it. He has his friends, I have my friends. We have joint friends. I focus on my career, he focuses on his. We have joint dreams, we have separate energies. We are whole. Now, in the twin flame path, we talk a lot about the yin to the yang, masculine and feminine. And what do they say? And it always used to confuse me. You're never really apart from each other. And it's like, what do you mean? You know, because we're always scratching our head. What do you mean we're not apart? Like, I've got to be perfect. I've got to be ascended. I need to send love and light to my twin. No, you need to focus on yourself. Only at a point in the journey do psychic attacks come in, and that's when you need to protect yourself. And you best be just focusing on yourself, because the attachment is, oh my God, I need to send light to them and I need to protect them because they're a victim. No, they're fine. You're joint. You're joint. It's the ego, and some of you won't agree, but I'm in union. I've seen it. It doesn't mean I've seen everyone's journey, but I did everything that I'm talking about. I was like, they're not safe. I've got to send light. And then you get to the ugly again, and then you get back ascended back up again. So it's a changing kind of compass. Do you know what I mean? What is another experience that I had that's really important? But you'll find there's less resistance. You'll find that when it comes back in, you'll feel it's almost like an umbilical cord on your back won't let you leave the room. And so it's strange. It's almost like you can't, your guides won't let you. Your guides are like, oi, you two, here, deal with it. So I would have a code word. It's like, right, if we're angry, go for a walk, do your thing. But you stay in the home. You don't leave. Okay, and you can each have your own needs that you can negotiate inside your connection. And you'll also create a safe space that you can talk about hard things, but it doesn't have to be attack. You know, there's a way to talk about the wound, and I would usually talk about it from, okay, X, Y, and Z happened to me. I was the victim. Maybe back then you were the perpetrator, and I've probably done things to him too, right? Vice versa. But it's now in me, and I'm trying to function in life. So when I'd have a trigger come up, I'd start, so I'm a bit triggered at the moment. And he'd go, what about? And I go, look, and it is a whole, it's not you, it's me. Now, sometimes it can be that something has activated that of a behavior or something to that degree, but use it as an opportunity to heal. Use it as an opportunity to go, okay, I'm just going to be really vulnerable with you, but X, Y, and Z, and, you know, I know it's a me problem. I've got to look at it, but, and then you're being transparent. But it's not an attack if you did this to me, because, you know, how do we work through that then? How do we then break down that wall to create this beautiful space that we can be authentic with each other, and we can say that actually really messed me up. That really hurt. I was very scared. I was mad, angry, you know. So it's once you can teach each other your language of love or your language of communication, a lot of what, you know, same with the songs. You send a song to your twin, it's usually what you need to hear. Can even be your intimate styles, the way your twin reacts to you and the way you react is what you each want, so swap it. It's so messed up. It's like, so when we're saying we're whole, we're actually in the separation style, we're integrating the masculine inside of ourselves, but we're also making peace with the feminine. At the moment, the portal they're going through, the eclipse is coming next week. So next week is that? What's the date? Where is the... It's next month we have the eclipse in Sagittarius. So it's going to be popping off where they're going to go through rapid changes. So what I want you guys to do is in the next few weeks, I'll put some posts up. I want you to pay attention to how things are happening with the male energies around you, with your twins, and with, in general, males, right? Pay attention to the synchronistic rapid changes. Now, that's another good thing is you won't, some of you may not see your twin, but your evidence will come from other male energies around you. And pay attention, it's your evidence. As you see this rapid shift, you're going to also see that happen with your twin, and you're going to have to be really open-minded to it happens. And then when it comes in, your aura will tell you yes or no. There'll be no resistance. You'll be very, very calm. And so when we're having this perspective, I should go left, I should go right, you're healing. Choose then. If you can't, you're not ready. Accept that. Check in each day with yourself. One day you'll be angry, one day you'll be mad, the next day you're just nonchalant and okay. It's all fine. It's not wrong. So between here and January 2022, if you guys have done the work, number one, what you will see happening in the news, what you will see happening in the collective, you'll handle it. You'll be sitting back eating popcorn, looking at it going, I went through that 3 months ago. Look ugly. But we always spiritually go through these things prior. The further into your ascension you get, you'll embody it. And I always call it like the human brat attack. It's a purge of the ego. You're bringing up junk that you've been carrying, especially if you have been around other energies. A lot of you are clearing your family's karma at the moment. You're embodying it. So you start getting, you gain weight. You know, dis-ease, get sick, run down. And then you just purge it. You'll be going to the toilet, you might be sick, you know, sweating, it's purging. Emotional. And then you'll be light like a daisy, flying in the wind like a dandelion, making wishes and just all in your ecstasy, and you'll be fine. And then you'll be looking at people going, that wasn't fun. Been there. That was the hard yards. Wake up. Look around. Your signs, they're there. But look at them in evidence form. Look at them from a humanistic 3D point of view. Because a lot of us in the twin flame path only believe we can have the twin flame connection in the 5D. You know? It's like, oh, it's really safe up there. It's great. And it's true. And there is. Your guides will connect in with you. At the moment, a lot of the guides are coming through from both sides. So some of you could dream about their mother or their father. Some of you can dream about people from the past. But the interconnections are working on both people at the moment. And they're going to help actually heal it. And they're going to help move the situation forward. Now, if it's destined that you choose, once you've moved through that major stage, you may have seen some twins on YouTube that actually chose not to be with their twin. But they're not angry at their twin. And that is because they've become whole, they're connected, they're always going to be connected. But that person potentially chose, they were okay with it. In unconditional love, you know? And you can. But there won't be that purgatory shit, you know, it won't be. But many of you will have the reconciliations. But the funny thing is, wouldn't it be great to choose? So the guides come in to work on you guys. They also try to help remove the blockages. Your ancestors are working for you now. So they're like, okay, what you need to address, if lately you've gone, heck, I've got to address X, Y, and Z. In human form, might be your money, your job, a home-related, family-related, something of an urgency, and you've really poured your energy into it. It's because your guides are saying, we've actually sorted your connection for you. If you're seeing the 1-400, that's your union message. Keep on path, guys. It's not the 1111. It's 1-400. You'll see no numbers the closer you come into union. It's the 1-400, and then it stops. And then you think you're crazy. You think you're human again. And you're like, maybe the twin flame path wasn't real. That's a sign you're coming into union. Because you're becoming the crystal. You won't need to channel their energy. You got 99 problems. You're focused, attention, integration, oneness, no judgment. It'll come up now and then, but it's not like heavy. So you'll see the 1-400. You could potentially, between now and Christmas, go through a big purge. You could feel like you've been squeezed out like a ringer and you cried so much that there's nothing left to give. It's actually quite positive. You won't need the crystals. You won't need the baths. You will become the crystal. You'll create so many auric field boundaries that you're protected. You'll feel an energy coming and you'll pop it back out again like it doesn't belong. You'll turn it off like a channel. You'll be very, very strong. Which again is some of the videos that I'm trying to develop that'll help you with your psychic protection. Because you guys are, over the next few years, really going to develop that psychic energy. And again, remember, we're going to have Jupiter and Pisces. So if you can't control yourselves in your auric field, do an auric field upgrade. Protect your nervous system. If you channel anything that you're not liking, smudge stick yourself and tune out of it. But don't go into extremities. Sometimes you'll even find the smudge sticks stop working. And that's usually because the universe is saying you're actually ready to deal with this as a challenge. You're actually able to deal with this and go, I'm going to block this like a force field. And when it comes in, I'm going to say it's not real. And it's no sooner do you do such, you flick that switch and you block it out. You can breathe in and you can blow out, and you are directly protecting your aura. So sometimes even the smudge sticks will stop working. It's because you're ready for that next stage in your journey for you to become the crystal. Any questions? So you're going to be purging, right? I'll try as much as possible to get the videos done. They're going to take some time, but they're going to be education content. You can grab them. I'll put them in folders. You can look at them. You can do the work. You know, I had some of the hardest people that worked on me. Oof, did I have a stubborn soul? And the mirror work was tough. It was disgusting. I do remember at a time when we're triggered, it's hard to look at the mirror. We're too close to the fire. It hurts. So we take offense. We're like, no, I'm the victim there, the perpetrator. It's natural, guys. It's our protective mechanism. It's not judgment. There's a time and a place. Sometimes it's painful, but the trigger and the reaction we have to extremities with words is actually showing us something. It's showing us something about things, you know? But it's Venus in shadow. We're going to get the Venus retrograde shadow energy. So it's perfectly normal that people from the past are coming back. And again, you know, sometimes when we're actually looking at these situations, it's like, oh, my twin's not coming back. But then we're, you know, do you want to move forward? Sometimes we feel that we can't. But then nothing really will become successful with the soulmate energy either if we can't move forward. We can move forward, but when we're healing and integrating, we can't. So we get tests. So is it hard? Yes, it sucks. But you know what? Trust me, you'll think back to the aftermath and you go, I'm so glad this happened to me. You know, the Leo King talked about the red pill and the blue pill. The reality of being awake is that once you have the tools in life and you realize, you know, we did make choices, right? And as painful as they are to accept, Sometimes, yeah, we did mess up, but we got to forgive ourselves. We did not know what we did. But when we do know what we're doing and we continue to do stupid, we only have ourselves to blame. It's like it's going to be different. We'll do something differently. Challenge yourself. If somebody's not calling you, teach the person how to treat you. Don't get angry. Sit. And what is that saying to the person? Well, I don't think your behaviour is appropriate. I'm not going to chase you because obviously you don't value me right now. And it doesn't mean they don't. It's ego. It's hurt. Think of the word ego as hurt. That's the best way to look at it. You're hurting my ego, right? They didn't call me. Why aren't they giving me what I want? Because, hey, they're different and there could be 100 things. I mean, I'll give you an example. I had 50 messages. My uncle died, but nobody knows. But this is what we have to get. Thank God I'm bloody psychic, right? You don't know what's happening on their side of the fence and you're judging it. Anything could have happened. Their car could have broken down. A relative could have died. They could have diarrhea. Not everything's about us. We'd love it to be. Is it rude if they do that? Yes. But how can you change that recipe? Okay, I really don't think it's appropriate that you didn't message me back. I think you tapped that and you didn't call me back. Well, I'm just going to sit here and say, I'm not negotiating with a terrorist. And they might chuck you a message and you do not respond because you still teach a person how to treat you. If it was really done on a route, let the message come through. That's nice, it's there. I don't have to give you what you want. You didn't give me what I want. But don't go into, wow, that's pretty rude. Interesting, I'll get to it maybe. Depending on what the content is, but just sit with it because you're going to be mad as soon as you get the text message. You're going to be excited. And then you're gonna go from one extremity to another. How bloody rude. We're human, it's normal. So you're gonna be looking at this phone going, they bloody called me. They messaged, right? And usually it's a text message. What guilt? You might be busy, they don't know, because you're both presuming. So you're then more than likely, if you don't respond, they're gonna get shitty at you and they're gonna call you. And they're going to say, why didn't you respond to my text message? And you can say, that's a very interesting question. Well, actually, I thought we had this really romantic dinner the other night. And, we got a bit of sugar. And you didn't call me. Why didn't you call me? Now, why didn't you call? And there's an opportunity to talk about it then. But if you do it in text message, it's going to be little kid crap. You did this to me. You did that to me. It's like, is that serving anything? Wait for the opportunity. Try and deal with it differently each time. Make the cake differently each time. Always, every time you guys communicate is a new opportunity to change the cake. It's always going to be this way. Well, if it's the same, don't answer no more. But generally, you're different, so it's just not going to be the same. And it's never wasted because it's like kind of teaching you something about it at the time. Trust me, I've done it. At times, I had to say to myself, are you in reactive mode like a karmic would be? Would this be attractive? Is this attractive? Is this adult? And sometimes, we're not adult and we're human. We don't have to be, but you're going to get a better outcome if you can. Because you've got to say to yourself, what is it that I'm wanting within my power to change this circumstance so I can get a better outcome? Because heck, I hate hitting my head against a wall. So, generally speaking, with twins, with masculines, it's not that they're using you guys. It's that we all are scared at times. And when we're scared, we put a wall up. So when they come in, if they have been intimate with you, and then they are stepping back, They're going to have 100 things going through their minds. Twin and I already talked about this. Let them have a little bit of time to percolate on that. And go, wow, what just happened? That was amazing. That was this, that was that. And if they've said they're going to do something, trust that and just go, hey, okay, well, they told me this is how they feel. They told me this is what they're doing, and take it as gospel. And then if they don't, you can go, well, poker face, okay, fair enough. But if you control less, even by your less reactivity, you're actually drawing that energy in, because what's the last thing that person remembers? They don't nag, they don't whinge, they know what they want. They don't enable me. They're not running to my aid because my behaviour's been poor. They're also not attacking me because it's poor. They're actually going, wow, he actually knows what he wants. And you don't have to be angry about it. You're like, look, I've got 100 people that want to hang with me. And if you want to, Gaia, God bless. If you don't, fair enough. I know my worth. And there's always going to be someone for you. You're never going to be alone unless you close yourself up in a prison. So this is what we need to understand. Instead of putting another person on a pedestal, you got to start learning to have some worth about yourself and go, instead of any time it comes up, they're going to love someone more than me, they're getting more. Generally, if they've had a shitty relationship with you, do you really think they're going to have a successful relationship with another person? You probably enabled a little bit too much. That's why it went as long as it did, and then it broke down because you couldn't enable, and you're like, this is driving me crazy. I'm not your mama. I love that song. J-Lo, Queen. We're not a person's mother. And don't expect them to be your mother either. You need to parent yourself. We have inner child. We all have inner child. We're all broken. Every human being on the planet. Okay, we are. Forever. Can we fix it? Yes. But it's our job. It's there. Do you want to live yucky forever? No. Why do we say we have to work on it? An apology is never going to fix it. I did put that post up. I even put that post on Facebook. If somebody did something wrong, whose role is it to call first? Hands up, tell me. I went through this. I was like, oh. Theirs? What if they don't know that they hurt you? What if they felt that you never cared? What if they misinterpreted the signs and felt you'd be better off without them? Somehow, on some subconscious level. Then who's right, who's wrong? You know, can you, from a spiritual point of view, contact that person and say, I can't speak for you, but for me, for my closure, I'm going to write this Stare Diary to you. This is how I felt. The end. Because it's not a question. You can't get answers from them. You'll never get them. And it's not about they won't tell you. It's that until you reach your closure, you won't even accept the answers. Do you know what I mean? I could have had people say sorry to me, but if I can't let them in or forgive them because of so many other people that have done the same thing to me and the wound kept coming up, I'm not going to let them in. You're the perpetrator. Meanwhile, the perpetrator resided in my childhood of a role I took on. I had a chat to my daughter and her boyfriend yesterday. And I said, think about it this way. What role we take on in our childhood, be it that it was told to us, expected of us, or we believe maybe that was the best solution, 9 times out of 10 can affect our career choices. You know, I had a friend and her father went to jail. She wanted to be a lawyer. For me, I ended up being a carer, a nurse, a coach. Why? Because of all the people that were in my life. That we take on roles, but also the role and the expectation you psychologically believed you had to be. It can be the pressure you put on yourself, and it can be, oh God, you know, I always had to have my life together. Always had to be up here, everything in my life to be perfect. You know, you think about it, whatever that role is, It might have been that mum and dad broke up and that you had to be the mother and father, be it you're a male or female. And you do that to all your friends and you just have nothing but drama. It could be that you had a relative that needed extra attention. Might have been that they were mentally ill. It might have been that they were sick all the time. And so the attention went to them and you had to be, again, mother and father. And no attention was given to you. So again, the inner child is constantly activated and then we react to other people around us constantly. I want your attention. I need your attention because we didn't feed ourselves. Now, we're not children, but it can come up. How do we desensitize that? We need to acknowledge the wound. We also need to acknowledge that we have a need, but we can feel that need now. We can go, oh, you know what, I'm doing too much. I'm going to take a little bit of time for me. I'm not giving myself attention. I'm needing it. I didn't get it back then. I can't turn time back. Your benchmark can be, when a person is interacting with me, I would like their attention to be present. And if it's not, you'll just become unattractive to them. But you can't make people be something you need them to be. That's a you issue. And it's expectation. And it's just going to go in cycles and people are going to go, why can't I ever make you happy? Because you're not happy. And because they're not our therapists. They look at it as you need a partner and you want a partner, but you don't want a therapy session. You want a joint energy that can enhance you so you can dance. But yeah, the blockages do come up in bloody twin flame path. Are there any questions while I'm here talking shite? So I've had a lot of people that have been triggered over 50. I give you the weather forecast. I'll tell you the astrology. Retrogrades. A. Can you connect with your twin during Venus retrograde? Yes. Look at it. If you're going to run down the aisle, I would advise against it. Not the best time. If you were going to have like this grand entry, I mean, another thing is I'm probably going to have a lot of clients over the next 4 months. Emotions will be high. Emotions will be right. Get in a book as soon as you can because there will be a section I will be blocking out for content ready for 2022, which I've been working on for 6 months. But it's templates, it's the magazine, it's the Galaxy magazine, it's your twin flame updates that I'm doing. 100 videos a month almost. So, while that content comes, hopefully it can give you a hand, but think of it this way. Venus retrograde, we're going to be in a little bit of traditional. There could be subjects to do with your family that are coming up that can be a bit iffy, which I mean, when isn't it really? I said to my family, can't we just drink pina colada and sing Kumbaya and be polite and adult and just get along? And, you know, sometimes you can't. But don't expect me to be perfect for you. That's a you issue. So you're going to get that with your families at the moment, guys. And it can even be us doing it. Another thing is during Venus retrograde, I think of the, I should put a disclaimer on the website, just an FYI, because it's already happening now. What is the Prince song? She's Never Satisfied When Doves Fly. That is, you know, Venus retrograde, you won't be satisfied with what you have. Worst time for YouTubers. Worst time, because you're going to hate the message. You're going to feel that you didn't have that void filled. Right. We can't fill your void. It's going to be a shitty transit. I'm telling you the truth. You're not going to be satisfied. You're going to be better roses at the beginning. How does Venus retrograde go? How many of us know how it is? I mean, I laughed at it. I thought, I feel so sorry for the shops in 2022. Can you imagine the returns? I'm going to try and laugh and not cry. So, you won't be satisfied with your twin. You won't be satisfied with the food. You're going to go off food. You're going to be like, maybe I'll do my hair. Don't do your bloody hair right now, guys. My hair is driving me insane. I need to colour it. I know it's Venus retrograde, and on the opposite side of that spectrum, you're going to go, why did I do that? So, can you meet with these people during retrograde? It's more successful with exes during retrograde. It's actually less successful with new people. Is it a good time to get married or sign a contract? Not during Venus retrograde. Another thing is, I've planted vegetables. I don't know why I bloody bothered. Do you know why? In retrogrades, Venus is to do with your plants. We can have issues with crops growing properly. So you'll find that they're going to need more care. We can have less propagation. And it's weird because Venus is retrograde for a short time, but Venus is in Capricorn for about 5 months. And that's all earth, tradition, government related, So you could find issues with growing things for the pocket of time. Wonder if I've got it written there. Venus, okay, we're going to get the shadow from about the 18th, 19th, all the way through to January 2022. Merry Christmas. Blast from the past, skeletons in the closet coming out. Why did we fight? Now, the good part is you can look through all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You can find some resolve. You can actually fix your connections during Venus retrograde. If you're projecting and having expectations and too traditional and never satisfied, it's not going to, it's going to be difficult. Will there be triggers during the time and a lot of bookings? Yes. But the problem is on the end of that scale is nobody will be satisfied. That's the reason I'm not releasing the magazine at that time. Because no one will be happy. Well, Pluto isn't a bad thing. Okay, Scorpio is, you can pretty much look at the 3 energies, is Pluto, Mars, and Venus. Why? Because Pluto is in the house of Capricorn. Because Mars currently is in Scorpio. It's still Mars energy. It's still Pluto energy. What it's showing us is, okay, one thing that will grow really well? Mushrooms. Why? Because Pluto is rot. What's rotten? What's fermenting? Hey, grab some ciders. They'll be nice and bubbly and spiky, right? Fermented drinks. It's fermentation. It's rotten. So, okay, I'm buying this house and it's really great. But there's a faulty footing. It'll be fine for 20 years. Pluto retrograde goes, no way. There's a new product you can get. It's really cheap. And I'm giving you an example. If I put that there, that can give me more success. And that house is going to last 100 years. So the retrograde's not dangerous. The retrograde's like, right, that beautiful project or that beautiful relationship you want. Pluto's going to show some outdated ways and emotions you had that maybe you need to let go of. It's in Capricorn, it's tradition. Do you have some I'll give you an example. Some of you might feel, and it depends on our age bracket, guys. Some of us are older. And the one beautiful thing I found about Twin Flame Path, which I'll laugh about now, is in the very beginning, I wanted to have children with my twin. I'm crying laughing. Okay. So my wound was, when I was 19, I did get married. I had a medical issue. I'm not going to go into grave details due to my husband. Love and light. Destined to happen. So I was basically told it would be very difficult for me to have children. Funny enough, ended up having a child, but the wound, I was a child, right? I had to look after my mum and dad's kids. I then wanted some freedom. Finally, when I had my freedom, I was told I couldn't have kids. So it was like, it's not necessarily you want kids right away, but you got to think at one point, there's a tradition, Capricorn. It's going to happen. And so, again, I had to face that shadow. Scorpio North Node. So, Scorpio energy can be facing our shadow, facing our fears, looking at the dark, being able to talk about sex and betrayals and, the gritty things that no one wants to talk about. We're able to look at that and then bring the value out of it. A little bit like the lotus flower, Scorpio to Taurus is liquid gold. From the rubble and the ashes, making something. So anyway, cut a long story short, basically that shadow came up, and then I was with twin, and I was like, he had one child, I didn't have a child, I then fell pregnant, he was in a connection, I then was in a connection, he was out of a connection, I was then in a connection. It was swapping, and through that process, I was doing a lot of shadow work relating to children. Parenthood, children. I'd look after everyone's kids, everyone's parents, everyone's people, everyone. But depending on what the wound is, how it's playing out for you, the traditional values you have of what you thought your life was going to be, like pick a fence, get married, have the kids, you kind of, most of us were like that, right? When I was told I couldn't, I'd be like, well, I'll just be single forever. Universe had different ideas. The universe always does have different ideas, because your soul path has the lessons along the road. Like Hansel and Gretel, you're going to pick those little lessons up, you're going to take them with you, and it's going to form the person you're meant to be. Which isn't a bad thing. You're getting to know the true self away from the ego. So anyway, then twin didn't want kids, but I did. Now, he ended up with 5 and I ended up with 1. And when I looked at it, I loved it. I was like, this is beautiful. This feels like home. Why? Because it was resonating with my children. Mum and Dad had 4 kids. We had large families. We had lots of cousins. I've got 11 uncles and aunties. One, like I said, God rest his soul, passed away yesterday. So, your conditioning comes forward, and you kind of feel that's the role, right? That's what's supposed to happen. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, twin had, he's got a lot of siblings in his family, and he didn't want that responsibility. He was like, no, not because he didn't want responsibility, because he looked at his child and he's like, do I really want that for kids? And he was truthful about who he was. And did it happen? And did he step up? Yes, he did. But again, we're taking on roles of what people wanted for us, not necessarily what we wanted. So on the opposite side of it, when you've done all of that, the good thing? The good part about adulthood comes in. And it's being your authentic self without all the expectation, without all the cliche traditions, and going, wow, we can just hang out together. We can just be ourselves. Not because of a marriage, not because of a baby, not because I own you, not because of what, the friends, and it's different. It's so much lighter. And you're like, this is the good part of adult. This is the nice part. I hope that makes sense. So sometimes you have a fixation and you kind of think, and yes, it was 100% something I always wanted with my twin. But did it mean that I was loved less? Not at all. And do I love his children? 100%. Were they hard work at times? Yeah. Empathy to the mother. But again, these roles we take on, our parenting styles, they can directly affect tribe. They can. So we have to make judgments at times. And you just have to accept the story of what's there. I felt a shift last night. I feel silly asking what it was. This shift energetically, like I said, I had 50 inbox messages. Everyone was very, very, thanks, sweet. Everyone was very, very triggered. And again, with Scorpio there, we had Uranus and Taurus was going to affect the frequency of divine feminine. So it's the heart chakra, it's the head and the heart, it's the ego, it's our nervous system, it's old frequency coming up. Again, I believe, I haven't got the internet back on, is Venus and Sagittarius at the moment. I'll friggin' laugh if it is. I don't know when it's moving in. I know that at the moment we still have until the 15th of November, I believe Mars dips into Scorpio, and then on December the 13th, we have Mars in Sagittarius. That's when you're going to watch for your masculines. I mean, Mars in Sagittarius and the eclipse in Sagittarius. This is going to be an interesting few months, I'll tell you. Yep, very interesting. You're going to be like, what? What now? Oh, I'm only laughing because I remember my face. I was like, I knew I challenged every single thing coming, and it was like, I remember one day I was doing a reading with a client, and I had this instinctual knowing, and I think I told Giggle, and I told somebody else, Jen and Lysiana, and I was like, I just have this feeling. And I went, I know it's there, kept feeling it behind me. And then I remember I was with a client, and I went, oh shit, it's happening. And they go, what? And I went, I'm pretty sure I'm getting that contact, like right now. And the daughter was on the phone and was like, I just had this, it come over your body. You're like, okay, here we go. You know when the door's open, it's like the door's open. Here we go again, chapter 5. You're like, no, chapter 20, chapter 90. But have I been the same every time? Never. Never. If anything, I enabled less. I was quite a brat. On one of the occasions prior to separation, I was actually quite a brat. I was different. There was less enabling. I was like, I don't have to do that. I was a bit of a cow, really. But not in a bad way. More in a... Like the things I'm telling you guys now about text messages. Teach people how to treat you. And it is sticking up for yourself, but not in a nasty way. In a... Do you want me to show you what you actually do to me? Can I show you what you do to me? Without being nasty, which is very different. I remember one time I was with a client and Twin said to me, you're ignoring me. And I went, no, I'm actually with a client. But remember, in the separation phase and because of what had happened with his exes, they would always bombard his phone. So, of course, if we would talk, he'd put his phone away, he'd put it on the fridge. Like, I just want everyone to leave me alone. Who wouldn't? If somebody is smashing your phone and you have 100 messages in your phone, and Divine Feminines, if you do this, think about it this way. Would you answer you? So he would put his phone away. And again, yeah, that sometimes will be projected towards me. So when we reach reunion on the 3rd occasion or 5th occasion, I can't remember, prior to this union, which was about 4 years ago now, I do recall he would feel I was ignoring it. I was like, no, Tal, I'm working. But it was happening to show him the opposite side of it, but to teach him that people are different. There are different people on the planet. And even if it wasn't just about the romantic connection, what it was showing him is authenticity. So it was showing him that somebody can directly, how can I put it? Mars enters Sag, yes. But where's Venus? Is it in Sag at the minute? I have to go in a minute because I do have a client at 10. I haven't even had my brekkie. It's 7 o'clock now. It's 10 to 7. Oh, God, my neck. And so if any of you feel offended or... I can't really do anything about it, quite frankly. Priestess Gorgeous says, if I've triggered you, you're most welcome. And it's true because it's showing something in you that lived there and I had nothing to do with it. It's there. I'm sorry it hurts, but if you can address it, it won't affect you. Do you know? So it's not to go, it's not like, ha ha, it's more, ow. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at how we can shift this so it doesn't define me. So we call it the nav man. We call it, really going into, am I in control of my emotions or are my emotions in control of me? And when we're purging, what's happening? Our emotions in control of us. And so then we're projecting and spewing all that crap out because we're not sitting with it going, wow, why is this happening? Yeah. I'm okay, Dale. Me being psychic, I have a different spiritual connection to the other side. So I actually got messages before it happened. I have my Nan would always use dandelions. So my daughter came over and she's like, Mum, look, Nan's here, which is my grandmother. And I was like, yeah, that's funny because I was feeling my dad's and my grandmother's energy. My grandmother was like my father's mother, step-in mother, because his mum was in Europe. And so we were aware that my uncle was sick, to the same situation as or similar situation to my father, which my cousin's relationship to her father was very similar to me. But because I see them, it's sort of like my energy with experiencing death is very different. I'm like the ferryman. That's Scorpio. So they come visit me when they want. So I just checked in with all my uncles. I'm like, look, how are you? And they're like, yeah, no, I heard. I'm like, no, I'm not ringing for that. I'm like, how are you? And they're like, oh. So anyway, like I said, I see the dead. So it's both. We are both 5D and 3D. Venus is in Sag. Okay, so Juno retrograded in Sagittarius, right? That was divine feminine facing and judging the masculine. Why is it coming up? Why? Because Venus is back in bloody Sag. Juno was, Venus is in Sag. I'd love to check, and I know we did do this before, and Juno's bloody hard to find at the best of times. I believe Juno is shifting and probably already has, so I need to I'm going to probably do a video later on Juno, and I'm going to dig deep in that, but it has shifted, I believe. I dread to think. Pretty sure it's going into Scorpio at a point. More than likely. Anyway, we'll leave that. So, again, we're back to where we were. Venus and Sag, the eclipse in Sag. The moon is feminine, it's emotion, and Venus is the feminine. Eclipse, Taurus, same thing. But have we, how do we feel about love? Have we changed? Moon is emotion, it's an eclipse. Total eclipse of the heart. Now, it's masculine and feminine because it's sun and moon. Both parties joining the table. Both parties joining the table. So don't attack each other. You're both going through a change. The enemy's within. It's not out there. It's here. I hope that makes sense. Happy Thanksgiving. Be merry. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Take a moment. If I was to tell you there's every possibility your ticket for your twin flame path, it's been booked in, right? Shit's going to be popping off. Be prepared. If you can take a moment and enjoy it, and I don't mean the twin flame path, that will come, okay? Remember to have a moment. It's okay to have a moment. It's also okay to say, do you know what? I'm going to have some pleasantries. Your frozen turkey's out. So, your anxiousness, it's going to get worse. But if you have the math, you know why. It can feel really super gushy and romantic too. Just don't put your rose-colored glasses on. It doesn't mean be paranoid. It means go for the ride. See where it goes. What can you learn? If there's a healthy boundary, create the healthy boundary. Okay? Moving my turkey from the freezer to the fridge tonight. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Chris. Now, I hope this information session has helped. If you need a booking, if you need a booking, book in. Bookings.com. Also, just be aware I am creating the content. Because ultimately, if that content's there, that's going to help you 24 hours a day. Where, if I'm in bed, I'm not going to be able to help you. But if the content's there, you can go, okay, wow, I've got this coming up. I'll itemize it. I'll put it in folders. It'll also have courses that you can go and dive deep with, that if you want to purchase it, you can purchase it. And you can go, right, I'm ready to deal with this. How do we do it? Oh, thanks, Stella. So that in the bigger picture is going to help you. But tarot card readings aren't going to help you. They're not going to solve the blockages. The thing is, with the twin flame path, we can do energy check-ins. But the thing that's ultimately changing it is doing the work, doing the mirror, getting into alignment. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. No. We're also at different stages in the journey. There's the synchronicities. There's the way your guides connect. There's the psychic attacks. Those are all stages of it. And we can't skip steps. The astrology is showing a lot of unions coming. But you have to be purging to get that. And I don't mean it's like, oh, guess what? In order to have happiness, you have to go to hell. I'm not saying that. But if you haven't cleared your energy, that next stage, we don't go backwards, we go forwards. The universe keeps pulling us forwards. Why do you think it's so bloody hard? It's because you're yanked up and you've got to keep going. And so it becomes more challenging and more challenging. So having the tools and doing the work is going to help you to survive that, because you're not going to be able to go backwards. The universe is constantly going to be pushing you forwards, because they know the time of when you guys are supposed to meet in the garden, and they're like, you got to get your shit together. You guys are going to be meeting up whether you blooming like it or not. So, right, this is what we're going to organise. We're going to accelerate your ascension. So it's like, stop looking for your answers all the time just in one area. It's about healing. The coaching sessions help that. A blockage comes up, journaling, doing cord cutting, so that is really important. And that's what I'm trying to create. But there's no way in heck. I'm just being transparent. If I am also doing extensions, 24 is easy just for the 2 videos. The monthly and the mid-month is over 60 videos. Paid memberships keep me afloat over Christmas and New Year's. Everyone's paying their taxes and doing things. I've still got 8. So that membership has to stay there. I also simultaneously have to do the magazine, because number one, it's going to help you. But there's also the information content, which is very time consuming. You're filling the details in, you're structuring the video. People hate bloody intros. My intros are probably going to go next year. I'm going to ditch them. People have this instant gratification. It's the truth. You want what you want right now. But the truth is we can't always have what we want right away, and we need to learn to not have instant gratification. Anything worth having, they did a psychological check. It's like 2 kids were given a biscuit. Whoever could wait for that biscuit was actually more successful in life, because they were willing to put the work in. Now, I'll wait for the whole package. I'm not going to eat my cookie right now and never get any more. No, I want the whole package. I want it all. So that's how human beings are at the minute. They want instant gratification. Why hasn't this person done this? Why haven't they called me? It's like, don't require it and it won't affect you. Just go, well, I'm the golden ticket. If you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. But it doesn't mean to say I'm liking your behaviour right about now. So we teach people how to treat us. Just be careful. That's what I'd say. Be smart, be careful. Don't be critical. If you choose to do something and you muck up, I mucked up. Okay, tomorrow's another day. Let's move forward. So, love and light. I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you on Friday and Wednesdays in the membership hub, and we'll talk soon. Stay tuned for the karmic energy, which will help, because I have channeled the messages for the next 3-week intervals. And oh my gosh, from a perspective, the information is power. I won't lie to you. It was very unique. The next read is even more unique. I was like, oh, wow. And even for me, it was like, it resonated, and I'm in union. So, I'll see you soon.